Mr. Kelly.
Hello, Margaret.
You can invite us in?
Yes, come on in.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, Mr. Quill.
Hi,
Hiya.
Dr.
Hiya there.
Dr. Jones, how are you today?
Okie doke.
Good to see you. Brooks, am I one of these officials here cutting a ribbon?
No, that's in Hanover Mall
Okay.
with the opening of Almy's.
Oh, all right, yeah, sure.
And they told Bob Gillette how lucky he was because he was the fifth one in the photo and I left him out.
Bob appreciated that, I'm sure.
But this is the four typical guys. The one on the left is the contractor.
Okay.
The next one to him, the little guy, is a founder of the company.
Yeah.
The big guy with the red face is the sales manager. and the guy on the far right is the guy who put up the money for the deal.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah. I was just curious whether I was in there because I've done some ribbon cutting in
Yes.
my day, as you recall. Yeah. Yeah. I was curious about this picture here. It looks like Veterans Day or Memorial Day with the flags and
Flag Day. Yeah.
bunting. And I see these fellows are wearing their old army caps.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
The fellow in the center is Everett Reed.
Everett Reed.
Yeah.
And he was active in all of our parades, and great veteran, and he was the head of the American Legion, wasn't
I believe so, yeah.
I almost didn't see the fellow in the center. I thought it was only two fellows for a second. Yeah. I only looked at the top two.
That's great. Brooks had to explain to me what a collage was. I didn't know what a collage
I don't know what a collage is either. What's a collage?
It's made of pasted paper.
Is that what that is? Pasted paper?
Some of it,
So, you can see here, he's got newspaper story here and newspaper story here, and he puts it all together. I guess you would call that what would you call it? You're the guy, you're the artist.
It's a collage.
A collage, yeah.
Which is a French word that means paste.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of your pieces are,
Yeah.
I can see collage. And where was that tree?
Well, this is a tree house you're looking at?
Yes, it was up in Lockwood's backyard.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Who are the Lockwoods?
Lockwood was a fellow artist who lived in Pembroke here 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he gone now?
Yes,
Yes,
he
yeah.
died very young. Very well known artist.
He was known as a printmaker. He was,
Was Lockwood his last name?
yes, George Lockwood.
And he was married to Margot,
Yes.
who
Yeah.
was the sister of Dave
Nyan.
Nyan,
Yeah.
who was a great reporter for the Boston Globe,
Yeah.
columnist. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he joined us in the second year of the Arts Festival.
I think he eventually came down the first year,
Oh, okay.
towards the end of it.
I see, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that year was 1967.
68.
68. Oh.
Yeah.
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 And,
Look at these bathing beauties over here. Mr. Kelly,
Where?
which bathing beauty are you?
Which way?
What are these guys in there?
It's a parade.
Oh, it's a parade.
It's a parade.
Watching
See?
the parade.
It's
Yeah.
center of town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just saw the skimpy garb and I assumed they were going to jump in the water.
So we had a large parade here and a small one. Just a couple of people that one.
When did you paint these?
Oh, I don't know. Sure. Over the last 40 years, I guess.
Do you ever touch them up, or are they done?
Yeah, hopefully they're done.
They're done.
Yeah, it's difficult to know when they're done, but when they are, they're done. Yeah. It's one of those old abandoned shoe factories over in Brockton. This goes back to the early 70s.
How do you decide what to put in here? I see an F here, an S here, and an O here. Oh, I see shoe. I see the word shoe now.
Yeah.
I get you. Yeah. And
Then we've got an American Airlines ticket, a portion of it.
Was that a real ticket?
The envelope they put the thing in.
Oh,
Forget what you call them now.
and I see you have some other tickets over there. What is the purpose of the tickets, or how does it go with the shoe factories?
It's just to have a texture,
I see.
because especially those old shoe factories, they have all kinds of stuff that's painted on them or pasted on them,
I see. Sure.
and it's just a little versatile tool, whatever that word is.
now how did you know this one was done?
It's difficult to say. I think it was due for a show, and so I had to get it framed and get the entry in there.
Yep.
So, and it won an award.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, it's
Great.
it was a showing of South Shore Art Associations. So
When was this?
1972, I think.
Well, how do you keep these pieces of work from getting faded by the sunlight in your house?
Why, don't put them, try not to put them in the sunlight.
Because they still look very bright, and I know you've got windows everywhere.
Yeah. No, it doesn't get any direct sunlight right here. So.
This looks like another Patriots Day or Memorial Day or Veterans Day affair. Is that what that is?
Yeah, variation on the theme. That particular one is entitled Brief Remarks.
Was this
the I one see. With
the man with his finger up here?
Yes,
Which one are we talking about? Oh, this one.
that one, yes. That.
Yeah. Is that his middle finger by any chance?
Oh, no. we screen everything, or we try to.
Yeah. Okay. Veterans once again, or politicians, I guess.
Well, it's politicians.
Politicians.
Yeah.
Am I in there at all?
No, you're not.
Okay.
No, this is after you're really focusing on the veterans for the most part.
Sure. Yeah.
Other than the fellow waving his finger,
Okay.
who's one of those out-of-town politicians.
Okay. Yeah. I was only kidding when.
One on the left still?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's basically people doing speeches at a Veterans Day kind of function. And
Did you do this from a photograph? Or from your memory?
no, I just did it. I happened to go to the function one year, and came back and made a couple of quick sketches, and it kind of took off from there. But, I'm kind of into color, so I like to do it.
Now that's not a collage, is it?
No, I don't believe so.
Yeah.
No.
All right, let's move along to the next one, guys, over here. They can't hear me talking at all. Move on to the group of people.
All right, this one is an Easter service down on the island of Anguilla, where we've been going every year for about the last 20 years. So, I like the ladies in their hats down there. They
I wish
do their best with
I wish
hats.
women wore hats, more hats. They used to, when I was a younger lad, women wore hats, and they were marvelous hats.
Now you have to go to England if you want to see those kind of hats.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. How'd you get the weather down in Anguilla this year, Brooks?
Oh, good. Yeah. You know, it's in the low 80s every day.
Yeah, wonderful.
So that's that one there, and this one here is entitled Jezebel. One of those sinful ladies that you'll find on any beach.
Yeah. How do you mean sinful? What do you mean? What do you mean sinful? What do you mean sinful?
Oh, just the title of Jezebel.
Oh, Jezebel. Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah. Was that Anguilla as well?
No, that's just a kind of compendium of Duxbury and Anguilla.
Yeah, sure. That's great.
I always enjoy the ladies, what they wear on the beach.
Yeah. Now that is a collage. I see different things on there and on her.
Yeah. See, sometimes it's just a little bit of texture here and there.
Yeah.
Without a lot of typewritten matter or all the rest of it.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. I think I know her. Where's this, Brooks?
That's Anguilla.
Yeah. I like her knobby knees there.
Yeah.
You always had a sense of humor. And that, once again, is collage. He puts different wordings and tickets.
Yeah. This is another Anguilla from many years ago.
Yeah. What's it? What is it? I mean, is this someone lying down? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, I
It's
see.
lady upside down.
I mean, okay. Okay, with the sunglasses on, I see.
Yeah.
And 5 toes. Okay, what's that? The ocean coming in?
Yes. Yeah.
Up here. Yeah. You are an original, I'll say that.
All right, go to the other part of the house now. Walk over there. Start talking.
Yeah, Brooks. I see you have the upside down ladies again.
Yes.
And you have 3 ladies on the beach. Looks like.
Yeah.
And is that a husband and his gal?
Yeah.
Sitting on the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that Anguilla as well?
No, that's actually it's Brant Rock.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
You won't find much relationship to Brant Rock, but there it is anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do love the way you draw the knees. They seem to be quite prominent. These gals are sunning themselves. Funny.
Say that again, Mr. Kelly.
I calls them the way I sees them.
Oh, they're lovely. And is this the Historical Society building? Or
No, that's the one over in Four Corners in Hanover.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful.
And the little one in the corner is Everett.
Oh,
Everett Reed.
Oh, Everett Reed
Yeah.
at the mic there on a Veterans Day or a
Yeah.
Memorial Day. Yeah, he was called at one time Mr. Pembroke
Yes.
because he served on many committees and did many things for the town.
Yeah.
And of course he was I think we talked about him before. He was the postmaster down in Bryantville.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the first to join the service after the attack on Pearl Harbor.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, a young man at the time.
Well, that one there is a typical lady down in the Caribbean islands, either Anguilla or St. John. And they do like to get all dolled up with their hats, especially Sundays.
Yeah, sure.
And They're what my art professors used to call a color thrill. So
You have her purple. Why is that?
I don't know. I haven't figured out what to do with that part of it yet.
Oh, I see. Oh, you're still working on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah.
And the browns, I don't find brown being an interesting color, so I look
see.
for some alternative
Sure.
to
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, this little guy to the left, what's he doing?
The little guy down there, he's a cranberry picker.
Yeah, Bob Zanaboni still has a cranberry fields in town. And his good friend Mark Ford worked with him for many, many years and just only recently passed away.
Yes, yeah, I know
Now,
about
Mark was
Mark,
on the Conservation Committee and also a very helpful fellow, and with me toured around the town with me in his car and pointed out things about the town, certain places that I didn't know anything about. But he was very helpful. He was homegrown,
yes.
born here in Pembroke, and just recently passed away here in Pembroke. Yeah. Lived on Mattakesa Street with his lovely wife, Janet.
I recall that the last time I was president of the Historical Society, Mark was able to help out. For some reason, nobody could get the flag raised or lowered, and he just used his contacts at the fire department, and next thing we know, the flag went up and down when it was supposed to. So
Yeah.
I like people who can solve problems easily
Yeah.
like that.
He was that way.
Yeah.
And his name wasn't, I mean, he went by Mark, but he was actually Marcus.
Marcus,
Marcus,
yeah. Oh. So here's some of my earlier works before I got into color.
Oh, I see, yeah.
So I was doing sports cartoons when I first started out in this business. So that was a sports cartoon I did for the Pittsburgh Sun-Telegraph during my freshman year at college.
Yeah, what was that, Carnegie, what was that college?
Carnegie Tech
Yep.
at that, in my day.
Sure, yeah.
Now it's Carnegie Mellon.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's how you and I met. You were doing cartoons for the Silver Lake News.
Yes, yeah.
And I had a column in the Silver Lake News,
Yeah.
light as a feather. And we just happened to just get together. Well, we
Yeah.
just, at that time, the Silver Lake News was owned by Bob Melville and Craig Fleming, two former Boston Herald reporters, and they bought that weekly newspaper, and they did a lot of award winnings, did they not?
They did a good job
Yeah.
for a lot of years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I stuck with them as long as they were there, and then into the new ownership.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until the new ownership decided that they were more funny than I was, and I figured, well,
Yeah.
probably a good time to pass it up. So a lot of these things are nonsense. I just, in all of these, I just try to make fun of what the current trends are. This one is all about, what is it about? Oh, the green movement, which has been going on an awful long time now. It seems to me, anyway.
And isn't that isn't that a takeoff of a famous painting?
It is.
American Gothic.
Yes,
American
it is.
Gothic,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
by Grant Wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Oh.
Great sense of humor you have, Brooks.
This is the one that I got the most interest in, because people, it says congressional sex scandals rock Washington, and the lady is saying, never mind that, Sunday, what's going on who's doing what to who down at town hall? And a lot of people thought that that was a clue that something was going on at town hall, and it wasn't good at all.
No. No. Was there something going on at town hall? I don't remember.
I don't know. It's just as well that nobody remembers now. And he's making fun of the FDA.
Yeah, Brooks has somewhat of a lean conservative, and I have lived a life of being a liberal, and
Yes.
I don't know how we ever really got along, but we have.
Oh yeah, well, we found some meeting of the minds somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah. This is a joke that I had heard from one of our fellow town officials years ago. We've had so many recessions over the years, it's difficult to remember where one began and the next one ended. Business is so bad that even the shoplifters don't come in anymore.
Beautiful. Yeah. Is this a jailhouse, or what is this?
This is a jail in the Bridgewater State
Oh, I see, yeah.
Prison, yeah.
They're opposed to female guards.
Right, yeah.
Uh,
So, so that was
as
that.
cruel and unusual punishment.
Yes. And then I have, years ago, I did an adult coloring book.
Gee, I
Do you
recall
recall
that.
this
Yeah,
one?
yes, I do recall it, Brooks, yes.
Great
The Great Mail
robbery.
Robbery, yeah.
And the mail robbery itself dates back to 1962, where the criminals waylaid a postal truck headed from Hyannis to one of the Boston
Up to Boston, yeah.
sorting places.
And that was on Route 3, wasn't it?
It was on Route 3, Exit 3, I believe.
Exit 3, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And so you did sort of a coloring book, leaving all these white spaces so that kids could color
Yes,
them in.
Yeah, it was, unfortunately, it was the tail end of the adult coloring book thing.
Oh,
And there'd been one or two about Kennedy, and of course, after he was assassinated, nobody wanted
yeah,
to make fun of
sure.
him or anything related to him.
Yeah,
so
sure.
that was the end of it. But the highlight of this thing was that one of the suspects showed up at my front door.
You're kidding.
No, yeah.
You wanted the book?
Yeah.
Did he find himself in it?
But it's funny.
love that cigar.
I knew his attorney,
You were kidding.
and so he came with his attorney when he came.
Oh, no
Yeah,
kidding.
they bought about a
Say who he was.
half a dozen.
What was his
Yeah.
name? Do you remember his name?
His name was Joe Bolero.
Yeah.
The suspect was either Richards or Richardson.
Mhm.
And then
Oh,
he,
yes.
shortly thereafter, he disappeared.
Mm.
They dug up his patio a couple of times,
Yeah.
but didn't find him,
Yeah.
and didn't find my coloring books either.
Didn't he live in town?
No, he
one
lived-
of the
One of the Brinks robbers.
Oh, the Brinks. That's what I
Yeah.
was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I can't remember his name either, but. Let's see. These postal officials color their faces bright red. That's great. Yep. Yeah, good. You're mean, you know that.
Oh, yeah. What can you do?
Well, say something about if you can find the police right on the next one.
Or find the state police. If you find them, color them mighty blue.
That's great. I'm glad you left some instructions for the kids.
Yeah.
on coloring, you know. That's great.
Let's go through the whole book.
Let's see, this guy's a golfer. Oh, what's he doing? Oh,
He's looking for clues.
I see. But with the
Yep. Bandits know that every little bit hurts.
yeah.
Color the countryside clean as a whistle.
Yeah. And this fellow is. These two guys are behind bars.
They're the Brink boys.
Oh, the Brink boys.
They didn't do it.
They. No.
Color them green with envy.
Okay. It's hysterical.
You know, one of George Shaw's favorite stories had to do with the one Brinks robber who moved to Pembroke.
Oh yeah. Now George
After he
being
got out of
the
jail.
chief when he was
Yes.
chief. Yeah,
Yeah.
chief of police. Yeah. After he got out of jail.
Yeah. And George got a big kick out of the fact that the guy kept calling the police and complaining that people were breaking into his cottage. So I guess the police gave suitable, not deference, but you know, they paid attention to his complaints.
I see.
But they didn't solve the problem at
I
all.
see. Yeah, yeah. Ah, George, he's marvelous. How we doing?
Right. Comment on this page on the left.
This is a wanted poster. Draw in the man's funny face. Color the completed drawing. Neatness and accuracy count. Special prize $200,000. Were you going to give this award, Brooks?
No, that's the FBI who's going to do that.
Okay.
I kind of prefer the one on the facing page here, but this is a government official. He's making a graph. It will prove that mail robberies are impossible. Help him color it if you have nothing better to do.
Oh, good.
Notice he's painting it with whitewash.
Yeah, what this truck? Excuse me. This truck that they robbed, it had a lot of money in it. I mean, what was it?
Over $1 million.
Over $1 million.
Yeah.
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 And was being shipped from the Cape up to Boston. Is
Yes.
that what it was? Yeah.
Yeah.
And somehow these characters must have done some reconnoitering and checking out this whole schedule and caught this truck on Route 3, the expressway.
Well, they had a detour on, I think it was exit 3.
Okay.
And so the drivers just drove it where the detour told them to go.
Yeah, sure.
And
These characters were waiting for them.
they were waiting for them, and they got them. And
Yeah.
yeah. I think they tied them up and put them in the back of the truck. Then they switched vehicles a couple of times
I see.
along the way.
Yeah.
But it was a good one.
Did they get away with it, Brooks? I can't remember.
I believe so, yeah. Yeah. They, at the last minute, I think they charged a couple of them, but I don't think anything
I see.
ever happened at
Yeah.
all. Yeah. So we got the fall guy here. Because of him, it all happened. Color him Elba blue. Here, I'll let you read that one, Ed.
Okay. It's a woman in a rocking chair. Yeah, this is an old Cape Codder. She has always known something like this would happen. Ever since the Democrats took over Hyannis Sport. Color her Old Sage. Oh, God. That's great.
A good friend of mine, his grandmother lived with him.
Okay.
And she was getting along in those years.
Yeah.
She'd just sit and rock in the rocking chair and say, "This world is all a wilderness. This world is not my home." Yeah.
I can. Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
Good stuff. So Brooks, what did? Oh, you're still working on it.
That's fine.
Brooks, what did this cost? I see the dollar. It cost $1 back in those days.
It did, yeah. And most of the customers, to my knowledge, were postal inspectors who were investigating things down to the Cape.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law was the only sales outlet in Hyannis
I
or
see.
on all of Cape Cod.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he managed to sell a few for me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. And let's see. Opportunity. Convenient time or occasion. What year was this you did? Do you remember?
Was that?
What year you did this?
1962.
Oh, 62, yeah. And there's
Yeah.
the artist's name. Yeah. You were living down in Hyannis at that time?
No, I was living in Plymouth.
Oh, yeah.
commuted to Boston.
But you went to, you came from Barnstable, of which Hyannis is a section of Barnstable.
That's correct, and I had worked in that post office.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. And you met Ann, your wife Ann, she was from Hyannis as well.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And you went to Barnstable High,
Yep.
and you met there. Yeah. Oh, wonderful.
Well, let me show you the Arts Festival poster from
Oh, the original?
the original.
The original
one.
1968, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That was a great take. Still, what's it now, on the 44th or, I don't know how many, what year? We've been at it for 46, okay.
I have to count on my fingers, and I don't have that many fingers.
Okay. You remember the Arts Festival, the first one? Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah.
Start.
Well, this is the poster that was designed by Brooks, and it was the first poster of the first annual Arts Festival, Pembroke Arts Festival. We were so excited about it that the very first year we began calling it the first annual Pembroke Arts Festival. And if you recall, Brooks, Saturday night was the jazz program in which you managed to get Lou Colombo and Dick Johnson.
Yes.
And they were in a band together. And people danced in front of the band and had a glorious time.
Oh, yeah.
Comment on the trees.
How about the, was this a pond, a river? I see the trees there down below.
I liberally borrowed that from something published in Holland,
Yeah,
but I thought the trees looked like Pembroke.
yeah,
So
sure.
we kept it a secret for a few years. Then I must have opened my mouth at the wrong time.
Yeah, Brooks, I think it's great that you saved it and framed it, because I must have had a copy myself, but I wouldn't know where it is now. But it was a great idea to keep it. It was just a marvelous time. That
You know,
festival.
Charlie Mann, a former state rep, is the one who framed it for me.
Oh, yes.
That was one of his hobbies.
Well.
The chairs are in some small cathedral, or maybe just a church, in Brittany. Yeah, I was kind of intrigued by the fact that the legs are so small on these chairs. And I just like the austere way they're all lined up next to each other, and from time to time they're nailed together, things like that. So I, since that time and that's 20 or more years ago, old, we now do things a lot more colorful than that.
Yeah, Brooks, you say we, what do you mean, you and your brush, or?
Yeah. Okay. And my silent partners.
Yes, okay. Who is the soldier here, Brooks?
That is Alvin, New York, from World War I.
Gee, I was going to say, it looks like Alvin York,
Yeah.
a marvelous war hero who captured practically, I guess, a whole company of German troops in France, I think it was, and came home a hero, was given a parade. Was he in New York?
I think so, and then I think he just went back to Tennessee and never to be seen again.
Yeah, just became a regular citizen and married his sweetheart when he got home, and the governor, I think, of the state, it was Tennessee, I think conducted the services, and very well, probably the most, up until that time, probably the most decorated soldier ever. I think Audie Murphy in World War II probably got some more ribbons and medals, but up until that time, I think Alvin York, Sergeant York, they made a movie about him. Gary Cooper played that role, did he not?
Yes.
Seems to have this fellow seems to have a Napoleonic, wasn't it Napoleon used to tuck his right hand into...
Oh yeah, but you know, you look at other photos back at that time, and it was a popular pose to take.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
The hand in the jacket. Now, who was this fellow?
This is General Blue.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Ask him what side he was on.
He's Union side.
Oh, that would be, the blue,
Yeah.
sure. And of course the South was the gray.
And right after I did that, they raided Iraq.
Oh, yeah.
And all the ladies who normally buy paintings said, no, we're not going to support any war.
Oh, okay. Sure.
So
That's understandable.
didn't do many of them.
Yeah. Brooks, these are all originals. Do you do any prints of your
I
work?
do. This is a print down here,
Oh, I see. Okay.
and I have some more in the other room.
Let's take a look at it.
Let's go in here.
This way? Okay.
There's one here, Ménage à Trois. One of my more recent ones.
Do we know this bartender?
We do. He's a former bartender at Bobby Hackett's.
Bobby Hackett's.
And he's also a former bartender where I was stationed in the mid-1950s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bobby Hackett's was a great place, wasn't it? The restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you and I had a few at Bobby Hackett's.
I think one or two.
Yeah,
certainly.
as I recall.
I don't recall more than one or two.
Okay. Should we go into the other room? You said you had something to point out to us there.
So here's a larger version of that one you say there, of the hairdresser.
Oh, yes, yeah.
They had a show at a big hairdressing salon in Norwell a few years ago. And I've never been inside one of those places before,
No, I
and
never
probably
have.
never will again. But just watching the ladies come in and get all outfitted in their black sheets and all the rest of it while they got their hair done. It was kind of interesting.
Yeah. A woman's crowning glory.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
And here's a dart team from Ireland.
Oh yeah, I see the scally caps. I love them. I've got a couple of them myself, and each one has a, what is that, Guinness?
Yep.
Yeah. And a dart, the dart set there. Shooting the breeze.
Yeah.
I asked an old timer in Dingletown one time. I got in a conversation with him, and in a pub, and I said, "Have you lived here all your life?" He said, "Not yet." They're so witty, you know.
Well, they're tucked in every corner of the house, as you can see. It's this is one of the ladies, one of the maids at in Anguilla.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's amazing how large those ladies are.
No kidding.
They are huge.
Yeah.
So anyway, I had that exhibited in a gallery in Providence.
Uh-huh.
Lady walked in on her lunch hour, bought the paint right there,
Yeah.
took it home, gonna give it to her daughter.
Yeah.
Daughter told her it's politically incorrect.
Oh.
She should return it to the gallery.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Because the title was maid service.
Oh, I see.
And that's a degrading term, I
Yeah.
was told.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
I changed it back to being Dolores as being the name of
Dolores.
the painting. Yeah.
The name of my sweetheart. Now that is funny. Now we must be politically correct.
Oh, we do these days.
Yeah.
I can tell that I'm living in the wrong century altogether.
I love this one over here, the colors. Can we take a look at that? This one
In the corner?
here. What is that?
It's just the roots on the edge of the water. Actually, that's up in Bert Sherman's place in
Maine.
North Brooklyn, Maine.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's fascinating. I don't know where you come up with these ideas and able to put it on canvas.
Yeah.
But it's just, I find it fascinating.
Well, some things work and some things don't work, and that's
Yeah.
kind of the way it goes. So the ones that don't work are the ones that wind up hanging on my wall.
And did you paint that sketch of the Herring Run Shack?
No, that was my late neighbor.
Oh,
Kathy DeSantis.
yeah. Tommy Redding spent a lot of hours in that
Oh, yeah.
shack
Yeah.
and helped clean up all that land behind there and created a park that you couldn't get into before. It was all brush
Oh, yes.
and thorns and everything else. They cleared that all out and made a one and seeded it over, and it's now a nice park that they have the old-fashioned fish fry on every year. And they named it Thomas A. Redding Park. Yeah. This must be Brooks, your headquarters here,
Yeah.
and I see all your brushes. You clean them all off each time. And these are two works in progress, are they?
This one is all done now, the lower one. This is, I made a trip to Waterloo in about 1950 to 55.
Uh-huh.
And I just came away with an impression. Soon after, I did a small version, and I've been working on this for just about 50 years, I guess. And I think it's about time to give it up and frame it and see if somebody else would like to share it.
That's wonderful.
But I was impressed with the scene at Waterloo at the time, as you had this battlefield which is relatively small, surrounded by tawdry little souvenir shops
yeah,
and stuff
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And it always struck my fancy. So
Yeah. Now, Waterloo was where Napoleon met his Waterloo. Was that
that's
correct?
correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And would this be a church or a dome or a municipal building or something like that?
I think it was a souvenir shop.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And the fields were different, had different colors.
All kinds of greens and
Yeah.
things like that. But it stretched on and on for a long ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And okay. And you're still working on this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is just those toy sailboats that are in Paris around the Tuileries.
Yeah.
And they're kind of colorful little things.
And this fellow had them on a cart of some sort.
Yes. Yeah.
And he was selling them, I gather.
Not selling them, or renting them.
Oh, renting them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
Yeah. And there's when you rent one, you also get a stick, so that if he gets too far out, you can try to
Haul it back in.
pull it back again.
And, and where would they sail these?
In the Tuileries, there are some large fountains there.
I get you, sure.
Kids of all ages, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, that's great. And what is this? What's this?
It's going to be a sun.
Oh, I see. You're still working on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the sun. The sun is shining in Paris. Gay Paris.
Yeah, we're trying to get some collages in there.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Embarkation ticket to get out of St. Martin. A little of everything.
Yeah, I see. Port to St. Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. About Bobby Hackett. He was quite a character in town, and he started out as a pot washer at South Shore Hospital as a kid. He lived in South Weymouth, and from there he moved on up. He stayed in kitchens for the rest of his life. He started baking some cupcakes for the patients, and then he got into, he went into the Army. He became a cook in the Army during the Korean War. And is that the story that you heard?
That sounds pretty close, yeah.
And then he got connected with the, what was that restaurant chain?
Red Coach
The
Grill.
Red Coach Grill, yeah. And he was the chef there, moved on up to be top chef at the Red Coach Grill. And several Red Coach Grills that were almost as popular as Howard Johnson's at one time. He was the opening chef all along the Massachusetts coast, Rhode Island. He went all the way down to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I know.
And then finally, he went back to the Red Coach Grill on Route 3A in Hingham. He was head chef there. And then he got enough money. He said he scraped up enough money, he and his wife Mary, to buy what was Frere's restaurant, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. And he kept the name Frere for a few months, and then finally made his own menu, and it became Bobby Hackett's with the double boiler logo that he had. The first few years, Bobby was not involved in the old-fashioned fish fry, as I recall. And then I think Tommy Redding said, "You're going to come and cook at the fish fry because I told everybody you'd do it." And Bobby said, "I guess I have to do it then." And it became more popular with Bob with his white chef's hat
Yeah.
and white
little
uniform.
showmanship.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And he did a wonderful job. Tommy Redding would, at that particular time, would scoop the herring out of the brook, and Bobby would cook them up along with other vegetables or whatever.
Yeah.
Not that many people, I think, like the herring. Kind of, well, I'd say they were kind of fishy. That's the best way I can describe it.
It's the bones that
Yeah,
get
yeah,
you.
a lot of bones in
Yeah.
there. But I tried it several times, but it wouldn't be something that I would eat every day. But this is what attracted the Native Americans here, because they had weirs in which they hauled in the fish. And then, of course, when the English came, Robert Barker and Dola Davis and so forth, they built the Garrison House across the street from the herring run, and they took over the herring, as a matter of fact, did they not?
I believe so, yeah. And I don't know. Do you think they live so close to the herring run because they like the herring?
Yeah, it must have been. They must have liked the herring. Herring are up, herring are up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Bobby opened his restaurant. What was that? Around 1970, was it?
Roughly 1970, yeah.
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 And it became a very popular place, not only in Pembroke but along the South Shore. And he brought a lot of his friends and relatives from Weymouth, South Weymouth, were marvelous patrons of his for years, knowing Bobby. And he eventually we put out a cookbook for Bob. Here's Bobby here with his tall chef's hat, and somewhere around August, it was suggested that he put out a cookbook, and you did the cartoons in the cookbook, great cartoons, and I did a little bit of biographical work on Bob, and then Al Kellerstedt did the. He had a breakdown, did he not, Bobby's recipes?
I'm not sure about that. That was your department there.
Well, Bobby's recipes were made for 40 people or 50 people because he was in the kitchen. So Al Kellerstedt got out his calculator and got all these recipes and had to break them down into a dinner for 6 or dinner for 8 or dinner for 4.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of work. I'm glad that calculator came in handy, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was a marvelous chef, and he had some great favorites of his. No, I can't remember them. I have it in here someplace. Right at the beginning, I think, opening his own shop, Bobby brought with him his years of mastery in the culinary arts. Now he instituted his own menu and introduced his famous choices of Clam's Casino, those are great, weren't they?
Yeah.
And genuine Cape scallops, sautéed shrimp, and London broil Bordelais, among many original recipes described in his cookbook, and serving, quote, the best New England has to offer, unquote. Yeah. of the charitable works done by Bob. What was that all about?
Well, I know he was able to just identify those people who needed a helping hand, and he had a big kitchen, and so it was kind of logical to do it. I'm aware of some of those things, but I think he did much more than I'm aware of.
Yeah, because he didn't broadcast it, but these were he would create meals and so forth and have them sent to people in need.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
but very few people in town, I think, knew about that.
No, just those affected, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were two Bobby Hackett's, as I recall. One in the kitchen, and one outside the kitchen. In the kitchen, my understanding is he was, what would you call it?
Aggressive, I think, is a good term.
And somewhat gruff.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
And I know that some of the sons of friends of ours worked in the kitchen, and they almost always wanted to leave and quit. And some came home crying.
Yeah.
And but their fathers and mothers said, no, you have to keep at it because this is the way of life. You've got to learn to take the good with the bad. And Bobby could be tough in the kitchen. But then when he came out of the kitchen, the second Bobby Hackett was a PR man. He'd greet all the patrons.
He would, yeah. But it was interesting that sometimes the volume in the kitchen could reach such a crescendo that you could hear it throughout the whole restaurant. Yeah. And usually he was not in a good mood. He really waxed enthusiastically about certain conditions in the kitchen. So
yeah. Wasn't one of his? What was that that thing he used to say to people when they came in?
The number. I can't think of the number now.
Was it something that you want to buy a restaurant?
Oh,
something to that effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess he was at it 24 hours a day. He must have been a tired fellow, because he said you have to do that. If you're the owner and the main chef, you have to be there, and otherwise things will break down. Or something to that effect.
I think, yeah.
So.
Yeah. I don't think he ever took a day off.
I don't think he ever did, no.
No.
He lived right next door. We had a group of about 12 guys who played tennis down in Kingston, that tennis club down there, and on Thursday nights, and afterwards we'd come up to Bobby's and stay till he'd close the place down, and we'd stay there till 2 o'clock or whatever. On a day before Friday, and of course Fridays were always tough after those long sessions at Bobby's. But tell me about the Hackett racket, Brooks. That was a funny thing. We tried to win the Hackett racket, but tell us how you found it and so forth.
Well, out back there's a stone wall out back of my yard here, and beyond that, it was just happened to be out there in the middle of the winter and found a very warped tennis racket. It was amazing to realize that anything could get warped to that extent. Yeah. So we took it to Tony Trotter, and so he took and mounted it on a frame and all the rest of it, and then we, for a while, it was the annual trophy awarded to the winner, or the winning doubles, I guess it was.
Yeah, true.
And so it passed the rounds from some who were very good tennis players and others who were very lucky. I did not qualify as either one. So.
and it hung on the wall, a very prominent place in Hackett's Bar, was it?
It was. It had a tennis ball kind of jammed in between the frame and the
racket.
The frame and the racket, and however, people kept stealing the tennis ball out of it, and I think the tennis ball eventually was just not replaced at some point.
Yeah. And each year, the winners of the Hackett Racket, we got some sort of.
Bobby would buy a little plaque to put it for the year, and whoever the winners
who the
are.
two guys who won.
Yeah.
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 That was a lot of laughs. That was the most ridiculous looking racket I've ever seen in my life, and it just looked. It was the Hackett Racket. Anyway, that's that yarn.
Yeah.
And of course, we held our annual banquet at Bobby's, and occasionally we would do a roast of one of the winners, because the way it worked was they would team up a very good player with a terrible player. So that's why I happened to get on the Hackett Racket, because I think I won with Joe McGaffigan, I think it was, who was a very good tennis player. And didn't we do a roast on George Osborne, Ozzy?
Because we did, yeah. I lose track of when it was, but yeah.
And Ozzy was, the first time he ever came down, he had these very short white shorts, and his underwear stuck out below the shorts, as I recall. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. And
he had black sneakers also, didn't
oh, that's
he?
right, black sneakers, and he just was not a tennis player. But he won one year with, I don't know whether.
Al Sherman, maybe?
It might have been Al.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, because Al was a very good player. So occasionally a real duffer got on there with a good partner, you know. But one year Ozzy, we did a big roast on Ozzy because he won, and because it was ridiculous for him to have won, as I remember. And what did we do? Everybody got a slip of paper making fun of him and kidding him. One of the banquets we had, I guess we were making fun of ourselves, and George Osborne and I George Shaw, that's right. George Shaw, chief of police, and I came out and in women's clothing. George having some sort of netting around him with a bra, black bra was it? I can't remember. But it was just another way of making fun of ourselves. We didn't take ourselves all that seriously in tennis. It was just a thing we did.
Well, thank you for visiting us, Margaret, and I look forward to seeing what it's all about.
Yes, thank you for watching the show, and we're going to say goodbye now.
All right, goodbye.
Have a good one.
All right, we'll say goodbye too.
Goodbye.